What's going on, guys? It's Greg here today, and I'm bringing you a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 gameplay commentary. And what we're going to be talking about today is how you guys can become more consistent at Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer. Now, what I mean by consistency is pretty much always having over a 1 KD regardless of the match you are playing, because I think that that should be a pretty good goal for everybody to set for, because your efficiency during the match is obviously going to be defined by how many people you can kill versus how many times you die, especially in a game where there's kill streaks and all that kind of stuff. So I want to make sure that you guys are just trying to find ways to become more consistent, and I think that this will help you guys have some good goal setting for whenever it comes to playing Call of Duty multiplayer. And let's go ahead and dive right into it today. So I've mentioned many times I don't enjoy playing solo, and usually I'm playing with other people, but I actually played some solo yesterday morning in order to get some footage for you guys, because I know that not everybody plays with their friends, and so I wanted to have some gameplay in the background that some of you guys can relate to. So I went ahead, played some solo, and got you guys some gameplay. Now, on top of that, there are some other things that I do want to talk about here, and that is the first thing that I believe that everybody should do before we talk about consistency, and that is setting goals. Back in the day, I used to watch a lot of different YouTubers and people on different platforms. You know, there was YouTube, there was something called Justin TV, which turned into Twitch. Any OGs, if you're around, you probably remember Justin TV. And I watched these people that would be really consistent at the game. They would be dropping these high scores all the time. So I started off just by going for some high scores myself, trying to improve my own gameplay and trying to improve at the game. And eventually it started clicking, and I decided, okay, you know, getting these high scores just isn't enough anymore. Now I want to start doing this more consistently and become a 2, 3, 4, eventually, you know, 5 KD player, whatever it is, depending on the COD I'm playing. So eventually I developed my own learning path, and I did watch other YouTubers and I dissected their gameplays, but I had to learn and do a lot of self-learning in order to become the player that I am today. And that is one of the things that you guys will have to do as well. A YouTuber can only guide you so much, especially whenever they're giving you tips and tricks, because at the end of the day, it comes down to your own learning path. It comes down to how much effort and time you're willing to put in. Now, of course, you don't have to play the game 8 hours a day, but it depends on how much of that time that you are playing each day are you putting into trying to focus and hone in on your mistakes, as well as trying to achieve your goals. So let's talk real quick about goal setting and what I believe that everyone should try to strive for, especially if you're not quite sure yet what your goals are. So for everyone who's struggling to come up with some goals right now, I'm going to give you guys a couple suggestions. The first one is going to be try to have a 1 KD every single match you play. And now I don't mean you're going to play for your KD by, you know, camping if you're not doing good and trying to find cheesy ways to get a 1 KD. But what I am trying to tell you guys is that you should try to figure out ways you should be maneuvering the map and trying to win your gunfights in order to hold a 1 KD every single game. And if you do have to take it slower, then by all means take it slower, but do not play in a way that you know for a fact isn't really contributing to the match. And what I mean by this is just sitting in a random spot that's nowhere near the objective and just holding that, waiting for people to walk by. That's not going to help you guys out at all, and it's not going to make you a better player in the long run. Another goal that you guys should have is try to win as many games as possible. Try to be the teammate who is playing near the objective or playing on the objective. As you guys can see in the background, playing some kill confirmed, and I am collecting tags as needed. It's same thing with hardpoint in a lot of my gameplays. You might not see it as much because most of the games I post were winning by a landslide, but there are a lot of games where I do have to get on the hardpoint, and I will have 2 to 3 minutes on the hardpoint. It just depends on what my teammates are doing, and I will adapt to the way my team is playing, and I will also adapt to the way the enemy team is playing. Which is another part of goal setting that I'm going to have for you guys, is try to play every play style possible. Try to be a rusher. Try to be someone who's locking in spawns. Try to be someone who's playing the objective, playing around the objective. See how your team is playing and try different play styles based off of the way your team is playing in game, and you'll become a jack of all trades, and you'll become a lot more consistent, and that is one of the best things about being a jack of all trades. Alright, so now that we have some goals set and we're going to be trying a lot of different play styles and trying to see what fits for us, as well as trying to learn everything we can possibly do about the game, now let's talk about how you guys can go about learning spawns. So I make guides pretty much, on the gameplay breakdowns where I'll go over some spawn knowledge and all that kind of stuff, but the majority of the spawns you are going to learn is actually very simple. All you have to do is pay attention to where you spawn in when you die and respawn. And then also, when you do this every single time, take a look at where your teammates are located on the map, because remember this, Modern Warfare 2 has a squad spawn system. Yes, there are set spawns around the map, but what is more important is the game is going to try to spawn you based off of where your teammates are located. And that is the same thing that goes for the enemy team. So the enemy team is going to have enemies spawn around other enemies. So whenever you spawn in, you have to remember those are set spawn points based off of your team's location. Those are also set spawn points based off of where the game is setting them. And you can learn those, and based off of where you are at on the map means that is also where enemies will spawn whenever they are in a similar situation to your team. So start taking a look at that and make it a good habit until you comfortably learn all the spawns in the game. And I want to tell you guys right now, learning spawns is an ongoing process. It's not something that just happens overnight. Heck, I'm still learning the spawns in the game, right? You guys have been asking me a lot about spawn knowledge because I seem to be a quite notable person about that, but I'm telling you guys right now that I still am learning spawns in this game because of the squad spawn system. There are not set spawns like a traditional Call of Duty game where you can predict them very easily, and I think they've done this to try to reduce the skill gap and create less flow, so that way maybe lesser, adept players will have an easier time at taking out more adept players because it's going to be harder to predict spawns. But I think it actually makes it even harder for the average player to really learn game flow. So I think it's pretty much just a backwards game design, because the developers themselves have said they designed this game for basically the less adept. And I think that by designing the game for the less adept, they're actually making it even harder for those who are less adept. But I digress. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about some more tips I have for you guys so you can become more consistent. So the next tip I want to give you guys is based off of a tip I learned a long time ago, and this is as long as back in 2009 with the original Modern Warfare 2. So whenever I was playing back then, one of the biggest things I learned from a YouTuber back then, and I don't remember the name so I can't give it out, but this tip was to play the outskirts of the map. And what I mean by this is hugging the outside of the map. And by doing this, you aren't going to be able to get shot in the back as much. You're not going to be getting shot from the left or right, depending on what side you're on. You're going to reduce the number of angles you can be shot from, and that way you can have a focused firefight on whoever you may encounter. Now, obviously, if you're playing objective game modes, you still are going to want to play around the objective, and I would say that when you should play the outskirts is if you know that you have teammates that are playing the middle or the other side of the map, then you should go ahead and play the opposite side, and you should try to pick up kills based off that, so that way your team isn't getting full flanked. And that's what I'll do a lot of the time, is I'll try to pick a lane on a map, and I'll try to hold it down, or I'll try to rotate and get a full flank on the enemy team that isn't paying attention, and I'll get a lot of free and easy kills doing this. Playing the outskirts of the map reduces the number of angles you could be seen from, as we discussed, so therefore it is going to help you guys out in focus on winning your one-on-ones and not having to take on too many enemies at once. On top of that, I just think it's really good practice because you'll be able to learn spawns, and you'll be able to see based off of whenever UAVs are being called in, you'll be able to see where people are spawning in spawn pockets, because spawn pockets tend to be around the outskirts of the map. It's very rare you're going to see people spawning in the center of the map or pushed up too far, so you'll be able to learn spawns also a little bit easier, and the best way I could put it is you'll be stalking the enemy spawns as you're playing the outskirts of the map. So just a quick tip I wanted to give you guys in that regard. But what about the middle of the map? Does that mean you shouldn't play the middle of the map at all? And no, it's quite opposite actually. The middle of the map is still a very useful part to rotate through, especially because, well, there's usually a lot of objectives at the middle of the map. So if you're playing a game mode like Domination, where the B flag is generally going to be in the middle of the map, what you should try to do is capture that B flag, and then you should try to play somewhere that's going to reduce the number of angles that you'll be seen at, which again is most likely going to be the outskirts of the map or a power position, and then what you will do is you'll guard that B flag and not try to have the enemies capture the B flag. Again, Domination, while it might seem like it's a great thing to triple cap enemies, it's really not, because the spawns will start going haywire, and holding map control at either C or A, and then adding B into the equation is going to make it much easier to hold map control and win more games in domination. But this video isn't about domination, but I just wanted to use that as an example, so then you start playing some angles and you start holding areas where you can't be shot from in the back or the side, and you can have much more control over the map, having the enemies have to challenge you in order to regain map control. Now, like I said, the middle of the map is still a useful area because if you're playing a game mode like Kill Confirm, for example, you can rotate between spawns, especially whenever UAVs or advanced UAVs are up, because you're going to be able to predict your enemies with much more ease, and therefore you can use the middle of the map to cut down the amount of time it takes for you to get around the map, and therefore you'll be able to catch more people off timing, as well as get to where the action is a lot faster. And also, a lot of the time, it's going to be less predictable for enemies to be able to take you out, especially if there's a UAV or an advanced UAV up, because they're going to be spawning in thinking it's safe, but you're using a faster lane to get towards their spawn, and you're going to be able to take them out with much more ease. So just wanted to point that out for you guys. No, the middle of the map is not useless, and it's actually very useful. Just depends on how you want to use it. So now we have discussed some tips on staying alive a lot longer, your goal setting, as well as many other things. Let's talk about something that I think is very important that a lot of people overlook in their Call of Duty gameplay. This is going to be your kill streaks. Kill streaks are a great way for goal setting as well if you're still not quite sure about your goals. The reason being is kill streaks are a very fun dynamic that is exclusive to Call of Duty. Many other games have not really tried to replicate this factor. Kill streaks are given to players based off of the reward system around how many kills you can go on without dying, or if you toggle score streaks, you can play the objective and mix in other ways to earn more score, and you can be rewarded for your efforts. So these are very important to changing the tides of the battle, and they can help you win so many more games than you may have thought of. So trying to earn more kill streaks or score streaks is definitely going to be a great goal to have, and it's also going to help you improve as a player, and it's going to improve your overall score lines. So what is my tip here? Well, you should be running kill streaks and score streaks that you are able to get every single game. And if you are still confused on, well, I'm not really sure what kill streaks I should run, as well as maybe you don't earn a lot of kill streaks and you just don't find yourself earning kill streaks, let's talk about what you should be running. So, a kill streak you can never go wrong with is the first kill streak you'll actually ever unlock in the game, and that is the UAV at 4 kills. This is a very good kill streak because it's going to reveal enemy locations on the minimap, and it's going to ping them once every 5 seconds or so. And having this is really important because knowledge is power in Call of Duty, especially in this game where I made mention that the spawn system isn't very traditional and it's actually a lot harder to predict. So having the UAV is going to take out that randomness whenever it comes to the spawns, and you're going to be able to know where your enemies are coming from. Now obviously later in the match this isn't as useful because as time goes on that people might start earning the ghost perk. So now you might be wondering, why would I run this kill streak if it might become useless later down the road in the match because of the ghost perk? And, well, to you, my friend, what I have to tell you is there is no way to truly hide yourself from the minimap when there are UAVs or advanced UAVs in the air. And the reason for this is because the ghost perk and suppressor has received a nerf in Modern Warfare 2. So if you're using these two in combination, what will happen is whenever you are firing a suppressed weapon, it will disable your ghost perk. And if the UAV happens to sweep over you during the duration of the disable of the ghost perk, then you will appear on the radar even though you are thinking that you might be fully hidden from the radar. So keep that in mind whenever you're playing the game, is that there really is no true way to stay off of an enemy's UAV unless you have the ghost perk and you just simply don't fire your weapon. However, we don't want to play scared of, obviously, the UAV because it's up for quite some time. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is UAVs still have a use even after players have earned the ghost perk, because it is going to disable the ghost perk whenever they fire their weapons, so they're going to have to be a little bit more cautious of how they play the game, still applying pressure on those players that are running the ghost perk. perk. So, another great kill streak that you guys can't go wrong with, especially if you are newer to the game and maybe you're not great at earning those higher kill streak rewards, is going to be the care package coming in at 5 kills. Now, I usually don't recommend this kill streak towards players who are starting to improve at the game because it takes you out of the action, right? It takes you out of having to play map control and other sort of things while you wait for your care package to come down. However, if you are newer to the game and you're someone who's not earning these higher kill streaks, I still want you guys to have your fun at earning some of these higher kill streaks and being able to use them and start learning how they work. So obviously the care package is going to be a great choice for that, and yes, it can get you any kill streak in the game except for the nuke, which is the MGB earned at 30 kills without dying with only your gun and equipment. So, therefore, I would highly recommend running the care package. And last but not least, a kill streak that you can never go wrong with is the VTOL Jet at 8 kills. And the reason the VTOL Jet is so powerful is because you can call this thing in and it is going to guard an area that you call it over. This is great for putting it over objectives, as for any enemy who is not running the cold-blooded perk will be taken out by the VTOL Jet. And another thing that you may not know is kill streaks that are AI controlled, such as the VTOL Jet, actually target the highest players on the enemy's scoreboard. So anyone who is in 1st, 2nd, or 3rd place is going to have priority over someone who is in 4th, 5th, or 6th place. So keep that in mind, is that the VTOL Jet is going to target the better players in the lobby on the enemy team. And that goes for anything else that is AI controlled, such as a sentry gun, the Overwatch helo, anything of that nature. It is going to help you out. Just make sure that your VTOL Jet doesn't land on you when the enemy shoot it down, like it did for me in the gameplay in the background. And last but not least, you want to track your progress and see how you're performing and when you're having bad games. And this is going to be useful with the combat record. So I'll have a little footage going over here about the combat record and, how you can track this and get to your last 10 games. Your overall stats, you should use this as a way. If you see them going up over time, that means you're improving at the game. If you see them going down over time, that means you're doing worse at the game. So you want to use your last 10 games as a way to see your progress, and you want to see overall how it compares to your overall stats. You guys will see here in my gameplay my overall stats, and then you'll see it compared to my last 10 games, and you want to take a look at this and you want to think about what is going right and what is going wrong, and reflect on those matches that you see that you've done worse than your average, and you have to think, what did I do in those matches that wasn't working out? Was I getting spawn killed a lot? Maybe the enemy team just really earned a lot of kill streaks on you guys, and just no one was going after those streakers. Remember, there is a little sub-economy to Call of Duty, and that is taking out streakers so that way they are not earning streaks on you. Anyways, using that combat record will help you guys improve over time because you'll be able to pinpoint matches that you didn't perform so well, and you'll be able to go ahead and take a look at the matches you aren't doing well. And I can go into more depth on this if you guys want me to in a later video. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.